The salvager's discovery. The vast emptiness of space held secrets for those patient enough to find them. Ilara Voss was more patient than most. Her salvage vessel, the Tenacity, drifted silently through the asteroid field at the edge of the Cygnus expanse, its sensors sweeping methodically for anything valuable among the debris. Salvaging wasn't glamorous work, but it kept her free. And freedom was something increasingly rare for humans these days. "Anything worth our time, Nav?" Ilara asked, running a hand through her short, dark hair. Her navigation system, a patchwork eye she cobbled together from salvaged parts, responded with a soft hum. Anomalous reading at bearing 227.4. Faint energy signature, pattern unknown. Ilara raised an eyebrow. Unknown energy signatures were either incredibly valuable or incredibly dangerous, sometimes both. Plot a course. Let's see what we've got. The Tenacity maneuvered through the field, its hull scraped and patched from years of similar expeditions. As they approached the signal source, Ilara saw nothing but twisted metal fragments and crystalline shards. Debris from some long-forgotten battle or catastrophic failure. But her scanner didn't lie. Something was alive in this graveyard. Donning her EVA suit, Ilara prepared for a spacewalk. Standard protocol, Nav. If I'm not back in 3 hours, log my last position and head to Outpost Kilo. The vacuum embraced her as she pushed away from her ship, thrusters guiding her toward the signal source. Years of experience had taught Ilara to move efficiently in zero-G, conserving both oxygen and energy. She navigated through the field of debris, her headlamp illuminating twisted metal and shattered components. The energy signature led her deeper into the debris field, where the fragments grew larger. Eventually, she found herself before what appeared to be an intact section of a massive vessel, its design unlike anything in Confederation records. "Well, hello there," Ilara whispered, her breath fogging her helmet. "What secrets are you hiding?" The hull was dark, almost light-absorbing, marked with intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. No visible seams or welds. It was as if the entire structure had been grown rather than built. Ilara's scanner indicated the energy signature emanated from within. After an hour of careful exploration, she found an entry point, a jagged tear in the otherwise perfect surface. Squeezing through, Ilara found herself in a cavernous space that must have once been a command center. At its heart sat a crystalline structure, no larger than her fist, pulsing with a soft blue light. Her scanner went wild. "What are you?" she murmured, carefully approaching the object. As her gloved hand touched the crystal, it flared brightly. Ilara felt a strange sensation, as if the device were scanning her on some fundamental level. Then, as suddenly as it had intensified, the light dimmed to a steady glow. The implications were staggering. This technology was unlike anything the Confederation possessed, and given the Confederation's strict policies on human technological advancement, such a find could mean either immense wealth or immediate execution. Ilara carefully disconnected the crystal from its housing and secured it in her collection bag. Further exploration revealed other intact components, propulsion systems, shield generators, and weapons platforms of an advanced design. Carbon dating suggested the wreckage was over 70,000 years old, predating the Confederation by millennia. She was collecting her fourth component when her suit's proximity alarm blared. A Confederation patrol vessel was approaching the debris field. If they caught her with unregistered alien technology, the best she could hope for was a labor camp sentence. Working quickly, Ilara deployed a stealth net over the most visible sections of the wreckage. Then she retreated to the Tenacity, powering down all non-essential systems and hoping the patrol would pass them by. Through her viewport, she watched the sleek Confederation ship glide through the field, its scanning beams sweeping methodically through the debris. After an agonizing hour, the patrol moved on, apparently finding nothing of interest. Ilara exhaled slowly. "Nav, mark these coordinates. Code name, Genesis. Over the next 3 months, Ilara made a dozen carefully timed trips to the wreckage site, extracting everything salvageable. She established a base in an abandoned mining facility, buried within a large asteroid in the Helios sector, a region the Confederation had deemed resource-depleted and worthless. There, piece by piece, she began to assemble her find. The crystalline core, once connected to a power source, projected schematics, holographic blueprints of the original vessel. Though she couldn't read the alien language, the diagrams were clear enough. It would take years to gather all the parts needed, but Ilara was nothing if not determined. The Confederation had relegated humanity to second-class status since first contact 80 years ago, restricting their technology, limiting their expansion, and treating them as little more than clever animals. This discovery could change everything. 6 months into the project, Ilara realized she needed help. One by one, she recruited others like herself, humans living on the fringes, each with skills the Confederation had deemed too dangerous to allow. First came Ravi Kapoor, a propulsion engineer who had been imprisoned for unauthorized engine modifications. His brilliance with drives and power systems was unmatched, though his abrasive personality made him few friends. "This shouldn't work," Ravi said, examining the crystal core. "You're mixing technologies separated by millennia. It's like trying to interface stone tablets with quantum computers." Ilara just smiled. "And yet, it does work. Humans have always been good at making the impossible possible." Next was Shen Wei, once the foremost expert in shield harmonics before the Confederation deemed such knowledge too advanced for human possession. They had wiped her research and sentenced her to agricultural service. Ilara found her tending hydroponic gardens on an outer colony. "The modulation frequencies of these shield generators," Shen murmured, examining the ancient technology. "They don't follow conventional physics. They're operating on principles we haven't even theorized yet." Thomas Reyes joined them after Ilara freed him from a Confederation prison transport. The former tactical officer had been sentenced to life imprisonment for developing combat algorithms that had outperformed Confederation military standards. Finally, there was Zhou Chen, a gifted systems integrator with a knack for making disparate technologies work together. The Confederation had blacklisted her after she hacked into their central database, not for sabotage, but simply to prove she could. Together in the asteroid facility, this crew of outcasts began construction of what Ilara now called the Phoenix, a hybrid vessel incorporating the ancient technology with salvaged Confederation components and human innovations. The Confederation argues that humans progress too quickly, that we're dangerous because we adapt and integrate too readily. Ilara told her crew one evening. "Let's prove them right." 2 years passed in feverish work. The Phoenix took shape, its hull a patchwork of different metals and alloys, its systems a marvel of integrated technologies spanning millennia and species. Where conventional engineering said components should be incompatible, human ingenuity found ways to make connections. When they first powered up the crystalline core at the heart of the ship, something unexpected happened. A holographic projection appeared on the bridge, swirling patterns of light that coalesced into a humanoid form, with features that seemed to shift subtly from moment to moment. Vessel activation protocol initiated. It announced in a voice that bypassed their ears and resonated directly in their minds. "I am the ship's integrated neural network." Designation: Athena. Identifying new crew. The crew stood frozen in amazement. "This must be part of the original ship systems," Ravi whispered. Athena's form seemed to focus on Ilara. Commander identified. Awaiting mission parameters. Ilara exchanged looks with her crew, then addressed the AI directly. "Our mission is freedom. The Phoenix will challenge those who would chain humanity's potential." Athena's form flickered. Mission accepted. Beginning integration with current systems. Around them, the Phoenix seemed to come alive. Displays showed the AI rapidly analyzing and optimizing the ship's hybrid systems, finding connections and possibilities they hadn't even considered. "It's learning," Zhou said in wonder. adapting to our modifications and improving them. Look at these efficiency ratings, Ravi added, watching the diagnostics. They're climbing exponentially. The integration process continued for hours. By midnight, Athena announced completion. The Phoenix is ready for operation. All systems functional. May I suggest commencing flight tests at your earliest convenience? Ilara looked around at her exhausted but exhilarated crew. Against all odds, they had done it, created something unprecedented. A ship made from the discarded pieces of a dozen civilizations, powered by ancient technology, and guided by an AI that predated the Confederation itself. Tomorrow, Ilara decided, we see if she can fly. As the others retired to rest before the momentous day ahead, Ilara remained on the bridge, running her hand along a console that blended sleek ancient design with rough human modifications. Tomorrow, she repeated softly to herself, everything changes. Outside the asteroid, the stars continued their eternal vigil, unaware that a force was about to emerge that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. Defiance rising. The asteroid facility's massive doors groaned open for the first time in 2 years. Inside, the Phoenix waited, its dark hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Ilara stood on the bridge with her crew, each at their assigned stations. All systems green, Ravi reported from engineering. Power core stable at 30% capacity. Weapon systems online and calibrated. Thomas confirmed, his fingers dancing across tactical displays. Shen monitored the shield generators. Defensive systems at optimal configuration. These hybrid shields should withstand twice the firepower of a Confederation cruiser. At the pilot's station, Zoe's hands hovered over the controls. Navigation is set for our test route. No Confederation presence expected in that sector. Ilara took a deep breath and settled into the commander's chair. Athena, are you with us? The AI's holographic form appeared beside her, all systems integrated and functioning within optimal parameters. I am ready to assist. Commander. Ilara nodded and gave the order. Take us out, Zoe. Nice and easy. The Phoenix hummed to life, rising smoothly from its cradle before gliding forward through the open doors and into the darkness of space. Thrusters responding perfectly, Zoe reported. Better than the simulations. Once clear of the asteroid, Zoe engaged the main engines. The Phoenix surged forward with unexpected power, pushing them all back in their seats. Engine output exceeding predictions by 40%. Ravi called out, eyes wide. Ilara gripped her chair. Athena, what's happening? I have optimized engine efficiency based on crew intent and situational parameters, the AI replied calmly. The Phoenix is performing within safe operational limits. As they accelerated away from their hidden base, Ilara ordered a series of maneuvers to test the ship's capabilities. The Phoenix responded with incredible agility for a vessel its size, turning and banking smoothly despite its patchwork construction. Let's test the stealth systems, Ilara commanded once they were safely away from any known travel routes. Zoe activated the system they had cobbled together from salvaged Confederation scout ships and components from the original ancient vessel. The lights on the bridge dimmed as power redirected. Stealth system engaged, she confirmed. But we won't know if it's working until something tries to scan us. They wouldn't have to wait long for that test. Thomas suddenly straightened at his console. Picking up a distress signal, he announced. Human frequency coming from the Proxima mining outpost sector. Put it through, Ilara ordered. A frantic voice crackled over the comm system. Mayday, Mayday. This is mining vessel Horizon. We are under attack by Confederation enforcement ships. They claim we're mining in a restricted zone. We have injured crew aboard. Please, anyone. The message dissolved into static. Ilara looked around at her crew, seeing her own decision reflected in their faces. The test flight had just become a rescue mission. Zoe, set course for the Horizon's coordinates, maximum speed. Thomas, ready weapons but don't power up yet. We'll use stealth to approach. The Phoenix changed course, its engines pushing to new limits as they raced toward the distress call. When they arrived, they found a grim scene. A bulky human mining ship drifting with visible damage to its engines, surrounded by two sleek Confederation enforcement vessels preparing to board. "They're ordering the miners to prepare for boarding," Thomas reported, monitoring the communications. "Standard procedure before they impound a ship for territorial violations. The miners will be processed and likely sent to labor camps." Ilara had seen the results of such processing before. Families torn apart, assigned to different labor camps across Confederation space. "Not today," she said firmly. "Athena, tactical analysis. How can we disable those enforcement ships without destroying them?" The AI's holographic form expanded the tactical display. "The Confederation vessels are R-class enforcers with standard shield configurations. Their propulsion systems are vulnerable when they maintain stationary positions, as they are now. Precision strikes here and here would disable their ability to pursue without causing catastrophic damage." Ilara nodded. "Zoe, bring us in behind the larger enforcement ship. Thomas, target those points Athena indicated. Shen, prepare to redirect power between weapons and stealth systems on my mark." The Phoenix slid silently through space, invisible to the Confederation ship's sensors. When they were in position, Ilara gave the command. Now, the stealth field dropped. Before the Confederation ships could react, the Phoenix fired two precise bursts from weapons that combined ancient technology with modern modifications. The effect was immediate. The enforcement ship's engines sputtered and died, leaving it drifting helplessly. "Stealth re-engage," Shen called out as Zoe banked the Phoenix sharply to reposition. The remaining Confederation ships scrambled to respond, but they were firing blindly, unable to get a lock on the suddenly invisible attacker. "They're signaling for reinforcements," Thomas reported. "Then we need to finish this quickly," Ilara decided. Same approach. Next target. The Phoenix appeared and disappeared like a ghost, striking with surgical precision. Within minutes, both enforcement ships were drifting with disabled engines and weapons, their crews unharmed but helpless. "Open a channel to the horizon," Ilara ordered. A stunned-looking captain appeared on screen. Who are you?" "Friends," Ilara replied simply. "Can your ship still move?" The captain nodded. "Barely. We have minimal engine function." "Then go now. Head for the Messier Nebula. The radiation will hide you until you can make repairs. The enforcement ships are disabled, but they've called for backup." "Thank you," the captain said, eyes wide with disbelief. "But what ship are you? I've never seen anything like it." Ilara smiled. "We're the Phoenix, and we're just getting started." As the Phoenix escorted the mining ship to the edge of the nebula, word of the encounter spread rapidly through the comm channels used by humans across the sector. By the time the Confederation sent reinforcements, both ships had vanished, the Phoenix back to its hidden base, and the horizon deep into the nebula's concealing clouds. In a Confederation command center, Admiral Karn reviewed the enforcement ship's fragmentary sensor readings with growing concern. "Show me again," he demanded of his officers. The grainy footage showed a vessel unlike any in their database, a dark hull of mixed materials, weapons that cut through shields like they weren't there, and the ability to vanish from sensors completely. "Find me everything on this Phoenix," he ordered, "and get me Commander Vex. This is now Priority Alpha." Back at their asteroid base, Ilara and her crew celebrated their first successful mission. What had begun as a test flight had become something more, a declaration that humanity would no longer accept its chains. "To the Phoenix," Ilara toasted, raising a cup with her crew. "And to freedom," they responded in unison. Over the next 6 months, the Phoenix conducted 12 more operations, freeing a human labor camp on Europa, intercepting prisoner transports, and disrupting Confederation supply lines. With each success, their legend grew. Other humans began to follow their example, modifying their own vessels with salvage technology. A loose network formed, sharing information about Confederation movements and vulnerable targets. The Confederation called it terrorism. Humans called it the scrap fleet. Ilara studied the latest intelligence Thomas had gathered. Reports indicated the Confederation had assigned unprecedented resources to hunting down the Phoenix. Commander Vex, an infamous enforcer known for his brutality, had been given command of a task force specifically to eliminate them. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Come in," she called. Zoe entered, her expression serious. "We received another distress signal. Human research outpost in the Arcturus system. Confederation forces are shutting it down for exceeding authorized research parameters." Ilara nodded grimly. Standard excuse. Humans discover something interesting. Suddenly, they're violating protocols and need to be regulated. "Gather the crew. We leave in 20 minutes. On the bridge, Athena's holographic form greeted them. "Commander, before departure, I must share important findings from my analysis of Confederation communications." "Go ahead," Ilara said, settling into her chair. The AI displayed a series of decoded messages on the main screen. "I have detected an unusual pattern in high-level Confederation communications regarding humanity. There are repeated references to something called the prophecy in relation to human containment policies." The crew exchanged puzzled looks. "What prophecy?" Ravi asked, voicing what they all wondered. "Details are fragmentary," Athena replied. "However, I have compiled enough references to suggest that Confederation leadership believes an ancient prediction identifies humans as crucial to facing some future threat." "That makes no sense," Shen objected. "If we're so important, why keep us caged like animals?" Athena's form flickered slightly. "The most probable explanation based on available data. Fear. The Confederation fears human potential. This explains the systematic suppression of human technological advancement while simultaneously preserving the species." Ilara frowned. "They're keeping us like a tool in a box, making sure we don't grow too powerful, but keeping us around in case they need us." "Precisely," Athena confirmed. "And there is more. Commander Vex, who has been assigned to neutralize the Phoenix, has been given unprecedented resources for this task. The Phoenix is now officially designated as Galaxy's Most Wanted, with a bounty sufficient to purchase a small moon." Thomas gave a low whistle. "We've touched a nerve." "Good," Ilara said firmly. "Let's touch another one. Zoe, set course for the Arcturus research outpost. Thomas, weapons ready. Shen, I want the stealth systems at maximum efficiency." The mission to Arcturus went smoothly, perhaps too smoothly. The Confederation forces surrendered quickly when the Phoenix appeared, barely putting up a fight. "Something's not right," Ilara muttered as they escorted the freed researchers to safety. That was too easy. Her suspicions proved correct as they turned to head home. 3 Confederation battle cruisers dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly in their path. "Ambush," Thomas called out as the tactical display lit up with enemy signals. A face appeared on their communication screen, an alien with pale violet skin and eyes like liquid silver. "Phoenix, this is Commander Vex of the Confederation Security Force. You are surrounded. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Ilara signaled Thomas to cut the transmission. "Options?" she asked her crew. "We can't outgun 3 battle cruisers," Thomas stated flatly. "But we might outmaneuver them," Zoe suggested. "Their formation has a weak spot near the gravitational distortion from that nearby pulsar." "It's risky," Shen warned. "Those gravity wells are unpredictable." Ilara turned to Athena. Analysis. The AI's form expanded, displaying complex calculations. "With precise timing, we can use the pulsar's gravitational field to slingshot past the blockade. However, this will require pushing the power core to 90% capacity, higher than we have previously attempted." Ilara made her decision. "Do it. Ravi, give the engines everything they can take. Zoe, plot the slingshot course." What followed was a desperate race toward the pulsar, with 3 battle cruisers in pursuit, firing constantly. The Phoenix shuddered under repeated hits, its shields holding but weakening. Shields at 35% and dropping, Shen called out. Almost there, Zhou replied through gritted teeth, her hands dancing across the controls as she guided the ship toward the precise point where the star's gravity would help rather than trap them. Confederation ships are spreading out to cut off escape routes, Thomas reported. Ilara held tight to her chair. Stay on course. Athena, divert all non-essential power to shields and engines. As they approached the gravitational threshold, the Phoenix began to shudder violently. Warning lights flashed across every console. Power core at 87% and climbing. Ravi shouted over the noise. Hull integrity holding, but we're pushing the limits. Now, Zhou, Ilara commanded as they reached the critical point. Zhou executed the maneuver perfectly. The Phoenix curved around the pulsar's gravitational well, picking up tremendous speed. Behind them, one of the pursuing battle cruisers misjudged the approach and was caught in a stronger gravity field, its engines struggling to break free. It worked, Zhou exclaimed as they shot past the blockade. A massive impact rocked the ship. Commander Vex's flagship had anticipated their move and positioned itself to fire a parting shot as they passed. Engine 2 is down, Ravi reported urgently. Power fluctuations throughout the ship. Can we make it back to base? Ilara asked. Ravi shook his head. Not directly. We need repairs. Ilara made a quick decision. Set course for the Omega Nebula. We have allies there. The Phoenix limped away, its stealth systems engaged but flickering, just barely staying ahead of pursuit. They reached the nebula's edge and vanished into its concealing gases and radiation, finally losing their pursuers. The nebula harbored a secret, the Coalition, an alliance of alien species who disagreed with Confederation policies. These species, considered primitive or unimportant by Confederation standards, had been watching the Phoenix's activities with growing interest. When the damaged ship arrived at their hidden outpost, they welcomed Ilara and her crew not as fugitives, but as heroes. Your resistance gives hope to many, said Silo, the leader of the Coalition, a tall, avian being whose species had been relegated to resource-poor worlds the Confederation deemed worthless. We have heard of your exploits. The Phoenix has become a symbol. As the Coalition's engineers helped repair their ship, Ilara learned more about the prophecy that Athena had discovered. According to ancient records preserved by the Coalition, a threat known as the Devourers would someday return to the galaxy, a hive mind species that had nearly eradicated all life once before. The ancients foresaw that only beings with adaptive minds and the ability to integrate diverse technologies could stand against the Devourers. Philo explained. They called these beings the Unbound. Humans, Ilara realized. Silo nodded. The Confederation leadership discovered this prophecy centuries ago. They fear you because of it, because humans adapt too quickly, integrate too readily. They want to keep you controlled until needed, like a weapon in stasis. But the prophecy is already fulfilling itself, isn't it? Ilara said, understanding dawning. The Phoenix, a ship made from ancient technology and modern components, integrated in ways no other species considered possible. The first of many, Silo agreed. Your scrap fleet is the beginning. When repairs were complete, Ilara gathered her crew and the Coalition leaders. The Confederation doesn't just fear us, she told them. They need us, and now they'll have to acknowledge us as equals, not tools. 3 weeks later, long-range sensors detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the galaxy, precisely where the ancient records had predicted the Devourers would return. The Confederation fleet mobilized, but found their weapons ineffective against the hive ships that emerged from the void. One by one, outer colonies fell silent as the Devourers began their harvest. In desperation, Admiral Karn sent a message to the Phoenix. We have been wrong about humanity, he admitted, his typically composed features strained with fear. The prophecy spoke truth. We need the Unbound. We need your help. Ilara smiled grimly at her crew. "Tell them we're on our way, and we're not coming alone." From hidden bases and secret shipyards throughout the galaxy, the scrap fleet emerged. Hundreds of vessels, each a unique integration of technologies that shouldn't work together, but did, crewed by humans and coalition species working in harmony. At their head flew the Phoenix, no longer running, no longer hiding. In their moment of greatest peril, the Confederation would learn what the prophecy had always predicted, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in destruction, but in creation. Their ability to take disparate pieces, technologies abandoned or deemed worthless, and forge them into something new, something powerful. They had laughed at humanity's scrap ships until those very vessels became the galaxy's last, best hope for survival. As the scrap fleet engaged the Devourers in the first major battle, Ilara stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, Athena's holographic form beside her, and gave the order that would echo across the stars. "Show them what the Unbound can do."